Okay, the recording is there. So we're ready to start chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 in Talmud Makkos. And this chapter primarily talks about in a case where you inadvertently kill someone, right? So, if you kill someone on purpose, amazed, it has to fit into a certain criteria, you can get capital punishment according to the Torah, right? And that's a very unique scenario. But what if it would happen inadvertently? So if it's inadvertently, in certain cases, when it happens by mistake, you have to go to a city of refuge. And that's what this chapter is going to talk about, this idea of a city of refuge. In Hebrew, we call it an ir miklat, right? A city of refuge. And we're going to talk about many fascinating things about till when you have to stay there, right? How long, right? In which cases, if you did it by mistake, if you killed someone by mistake, sometimes you go and sometimes you don't go. Not always do you end up going, right? Sometimes you don't have to go. So sometimes and the difference would be sometimes it's like such a mistake that it was like impossible to stop, right? It's impossible to foresee that something like this could happen, right? Then there's a mistake that you could technically foresee and you should have been a little bit more careful, but still a mistake. And then you have a mistake that's very close to almost on purpose, and right? And so which level of mistake do you end up in a city of refuge and which level not? Okay. Mishnah. So the Mishnah starts and it says like this: Elu hena goylin. These are the scenarios. These are the people that go to exile. So it's called the exile, right? It's the city of refuge is called Golus. It's called exile. So if you kill someone by mistake, shoygig means inadvertently. It was a mistake, right? So he gives examples. So so this is a scenario that someone's on top of the roof, and the roof, let's say similar to our roofs here in Dollard a little bit, but they don't have, what are they called that we put on our roofs? Shingles, right? They don't have shingles. They put cement. They put cement on the roof but a little bit on a slant. That way the water shouldn't accumulate the water, right? So it's a little bit on a slant. So how they smooth it out. So there's an argument if it's talking about a piece of wood that they used to smooth it out or a stone that was flat. But either way, it's something that was used, that they're standing on top of the roof and they poured already the cement, and now they're using something to smoothen out the top of the roof, right? So now that thing that they were using, it was in his hand. He's pushing it and it falls out of his hand. And what happens? Someone's standing on the bottom of it could be a 3-story building, right? Or it could be a heavy stone and it falls on someone's head and killed him. So it's a mistake, right? Good. Now, so that's one case. If he was he had in the second floor, he had a barrel, right? And he wants to take that barrel, it's full of wine or oil or whatever. Cement. A barrel of cement, maybe. It's going down. It's going down, right? It's going down. Yeah. So he's taking this barrel out of the second floor window or whatever, and he's lowering it. What does he use? It's tied up with a rope, and the rope slips from his hand, and it falls and it hits someone on the head, and he kills him. Right? If he's going down the ladder, right? He's going down the ladder from the roof. He's going down the ladder. And he himself falls off of this ladder and he falls onto somebody and he kills him. So in these cases, you go to city of refuge, you go to Golus, you go to Ir Miklat. But the first case was that he was pushing the smoother, pushing it towards down, right? What if he was pulling it up, right? So both motions you need, right? And what if he was pulling it upwards? What if he was lifting the barrel, not lowering the barrel, lifting the barrel, and something happened to the rope and it fell and hit someone? Sorry. Yeah, we said that already. If he was going up on a ladder, not down on the ladder, he was going up on a ladder, and he fell onto somebody, and he killed him. In these cases, he does not go to Galus, he does not go to Ir Miklat. And the Mishnah finishes off, Zaklal, this is the general rule. That anything that it was that the mistake happened while you were trying to lower something or yourself, so then it's a shaygeg, and therefore you have to go to city of refuge. But if it happened by trying to lift something up, what's the difference? Lifting something up, you're much more careful, right? You tie it up much better. Trying to lower something, okay, so you're lowering something, but it's going down to the floor anyways, So, but when you're lifting, you'll make sure that barrel is very well tied, right? So if something happens on the way up, the Mishnah is saying, and this is the klal, if something happens on the way up, it's almost impossible for something to happen. You're much more careful on the way up than you are on the way down. You're coming, think about it. You ever go up on a ladder, a little bit more careful when you're going up. When you're going down, I'm already a foot from the bottom. I could lose my footing even. I'm okay, right? That concept is what the Mishnah is talking about. And therefore, if it happens on the way up, so like you took already all the precautions, so you don't go to goals. It's oinus. It's the difference between shaygeg and oinus. Shaygeg is,
so you get away scot-free.
Yeah, exactly. It's really like a mistake that couldn't have been foreseen. It's like I saw one of the commentaries saying that it's a pella. It's a wonder that something happened. In a case that it's a wonder that something happened, so you say you're scot-free. If you say, well, yeah, it's not your fault, but you could have been more careful, in those cases, you have to go to Ir Miklat. You understand the difference? Shaygeg is a mistake. Oinus is like beyond a mistake. It's like nobody could have foreseen something like that. That's the kind of example, right? So that's the difference between going up and going down. The truth is, it's Exeris Akasov. It says so in the pasuk, and that's really where it comes from. But this is the thought process that the Gemara, at least, and the Rishonim really on the Gemara bring to explain this idea. Okay, so let's get into the Gemara. You don't prove. If you have to get to a level of proving, so then you'll have witnesses, right? But we're not even talking about that. You're talking about someone that's in shock because he killed someone. He wants to know what's the right thing to do. What should I do? Should I go to a city of refuge, or am I done? In the original case, let's talk about someone that wants to do the right thing. Oh, you talk about someone who doesn't want to do the right thing. So there's witnesses that will tell you it happened this way, it happened that way. But we're talking about on the purity of the law. In the purity of the law, we're not. Yes, the secondary question is your question, but in the purity of the law is what's the right thing, right? The right thing is if he was going up or going down. In the Gemara, you can see the Gemara is going to bring other examples of what's considered to be a shaygeg and what's considered to be a oinus, what's considered to be a mistake that maybe you should have been a little bit more careful versus a mistake that you couldn't foresee anything. And we'll see that soon in the Gemara. Okay, so the Gemara's first question, very often after a Mishnah, is Minani Mili. The Mishnah just made a statement and gave a klal, a general rule. So the Gemara says, Minani Mili, where do you know this from? What's the source of what you just said? Amar Shmuel. So Shmuel says, the Amar Kra, it's Exeris Akasov. It says it in the pasuk. The pasuk says, Vayipel alav v'yamos achipel derech nefila. Vayapel alav, sorry. The pasuk, when it talks about this idea of city of refuge, it says Vayapel alav, that he fell onto him, right? He fell on that. It fell. It's talking about a stone in that pasuk. The pasuk says, "Oy b'chol even asher yamasba." When it comes to any stone that someone will get killed by, below the ice when you didn't see. Right, meaning a version of not on purpose. Vayapel alav, and it fell onto him. Vayames, and he died. And he's not an enemy, and it's not someone that you're looking to do bad to, right? So this is the scenario. So, but it says Vayapil of that it fell. It can't fall if it's going up. No. It can't fall, right? It has to be a downward motion. So this is, like I mentioned before, it's Exeris Akasov. Yeah, we could give ideas and reasons why downwards is worse than going upwards, but really, ultimately, as Shmuel says over here, it's Exeris Akasov, as they state in pasuk. This is the way Hashem wanted it, that only if it's ad sheyipel derech nefila, the way it falls down, which means on its way down. And that's why the klal is, the general rule is that if it was on its way down and you lost the grip and it fell, that's where you go to Ir Miklat. If it was on its way up and you lost the grip and it fell, you don't go to Ir Miklat, right? That's the Tana Rabbanon. Our rabbis have taught Bishkaga Prat Lemezid. Oh, so now Philip, you're not gonna like this because he brings one word from a pasuk here. Bishkaga. The pasuk says, "V'ikrisem lachem arim mikla tiena lachem v'nas sham reitzech maki nefesh bishkaga." So what does the pasuk say? The pasuk says that you have to make these cities of refuge. It's like 10 psukim before the pasuk that we just mentioned right before, and it says, and it should be there. V'nas sham, and a killer should run there, should escape to there. Maki nefesh, the killer, the one that killed someone, bishgaga, shayeg, by mistake. So now the Gemara says bishgaga it's a brais actually. The bishgaga that it happened b'shayeg. So prat l'mezid, right? So it means that it happened b'shayeg. The pasuk is coming to tell us that obviously it's only referring to someone that killed by mistake. What's it coming to exclude? Doesn't say just if someone killed. It says if someone killed b'shoigeg by mistake. So it's coming to exclude something. One second. Let's listen to what the Braisa says. We're going to bring up questions on it in a moment. The Gemara is going to ask, right? So what does the Gemara say? Prat lemezid. That if you killed b'shoigeg, that's when you go to Ir Miklat. If you killed b'mezid on purpose, you don't go to Ir Miklat, right? So the Gemara is going to say it's obvious. Wait. But this is the first statement of the Braisa. Right? Then the Braisa continues, and there's another pasuk that says Yisrael. I'll give you the whole pasuk. Yisrael v'lager v'latayshav livnei Yisrael, to the children of Israel, v'lager v'latayshav, and citizens of the land of Israel, even if they're not Jewish. Tiena sheisha arim ha'ela, there should be these 6 cities of refuge, right? Lemiklot, for a refuge. Lanus shama, for someone to run away over there. No, Shama kol maki nefesh b'shkaga. No, that's not the pasuk that we're doing over here. Sorry, the pasuk goes like this: Zed vara reitzech. Oh, because I see there's an argument between different commentaries, which when it says b'shkaga in the previous statement, which pasuk is referring to. Okay, now the pasuk says v'zed vara reitzech sheyanos shama. This is the situation. This is what happens to the killer that has to run away to one of these places. V'choy, and if he runs away there, he'll live. If he kills his friend, his someone else, a person, another human being, bivli das, without knowledge. Bibli, without das, knowledge, right? That's what it says in pasuk. And then he continues, as long as he doesn't hate him from previously, right? What does it mean that he doesn't hate him from previously, right? Because if we know that Reuven hates Shimon, and then he comes and says, "Oh, I killed him by mistake," no, you can't go to the city of refuge, right? It's a pasuk in the Torah very clearly, right? So it says in the pasuk bivli das, it says in the pasuk that he killed him without knowledge. So what's it coming to exclude? Someone that does it with knowledge, prat lemiskaven, someone that does it on purpose, that is doing it on purpose. So now the Gemara says, hold on a second, mezid, someone that does it on purpose, pshita, barktalo. Obviously that he doesn't run to the city of refuge. He's a killer. He deserves capital punishment if he did it on purpose, right? He's a killer, and he deserves capital punishment from the Beis Din. So why do we say that the pasuk has to come and tell us that? It's obvious, right? So the Gemara answers, Ela Amar Rava. Rava says, Eima Prat Oimer Mutar. So Prat La Oimer Mutar. So Rava says, no, that it's coming to exclude someone that comes and says, I killed somebody, but I thought it was okay. Meaning, one second, there's 2 ways you could say that someone did something by mistake. Either he didn't realize what he was doing, or he didn't realize that what he was doing was wrong, right? There's 2 ways. 1 second, right? So you're right. It's an out there case, right? That someone will say, I killed someone, but I didn't know it was wrong to kill, right? But still, Rava says that there should be such a concept that there's a lack of knowledge in the action and a lack of knowledge in knowing that the action is wrong. Amar le Abaye, Abaye says to Rava, I oimer mutar onosu. He says, if we go with your line of thought is that the person says, right? That the person says that he didn't know that it wasn't allowed. So he says now the person is not a shoygeg, the person is a anus, right? It's even a lesser level. And therefore he shouldn't have to go to Ir Miklat. So Rava answers Tabayi Amar Le Shiny Oimer Mutar Karev Lemezidu. So he says no. Shani Oimer, I hold that a person that says that it was a lack of knowledge. I didn't know that it wasn't allowed. So he's closer to doing it on purpose, because really he should have learned that killing is not allowed. So therefore it's Karev Lemezid. So again, this person doesn't go to the city of refuge because he's not a shaygig. He's a Karev Lemezid. He's not a Mezid. He didn't do it on purpose because he didn't know. But still, it's close enough to doing it on purpose that he's not a shaygig and he's definitely not an anus, right? That
gives some examples of these different kinds of sins. He says that, for example, you were driving down the street and the police stops you. You say you were going 60 kilometers an hour and the speeding was only 40. Oh, I didn't notice speeding.
right.
You didn't know, you're still going to get a ticket. You're
Right.
going 60.
Yeah, you could get a ticket for not knowing even. Right? Yeah. Exactly.
That's something I didn't know.
Or but what if your car is faulty and there's a thing and you're pressing hard on the brakes but it's not working and your car is going down the hill and it's going 60 instead of 40? 1 second, that's not your fault. That's more of a shaygig or maybe even a oinus, right?
On the way down.
On the way down.
I'm amazed that you didn't render a verdict in so many cases because it's
Oh, the deliberation is long.
oh, it's so
Detailed. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Good. Now the Braisa, now they're going to analyze the second part of the Braisa. The Braisa said that when it says in the pasuk that he did it without knowledge, so it's coming to exclude someone that did it with knowledge, right? So Bivlidas Prat Miskaven. So he says Miskaven Pshita. Of course, someone that killed someone with knowledge, so to speak, knows what he's doing. Obvious that he's a killer. Amar Rabba says, Prat lemiskaven lariges behema v'harages adam lakuti v'harages Yisrael lanefel v'harag ben kayama. So he says that there's certain scenarios where you don't get capital punishment. For example, if you kill someone that is not going to live for 12 months. Has a disease or something, and the doctor says not going to live for 12 months. You don't get capital punishment. You might get sent to jail for the rest of your life, but you don't get capital punishment. It's not the same thing as killing a human being that's living, etc. There's a few scenarios over here. Also, if you kill an animal, you don't get capital punishment for killing an animal, right? So the Gemara says, Rabba says that if someone had miskaven means that he had in mind they want to kill. His blood is boiling inside of him. He's running outside with a knife and he's running after that animal. He's going to kill that animal and someone gets in his way and he gets killed, right? So in that case, no miklat for you. Don't say it was a mistake. I was trying to kill the animal. The guy got into the way. No miklat for you.
Now here you have intent.
Right. Oh, so it's a lesser degree, but so it's not, what is it? Not manslaughter, but it's what's the next level, right? There is, meaning, yeah, exactly.
He knew what he was doing and he knows
Exactly. And he wasn't being careful, meaning he was out there, so he was going to kill something. So he was going to kill something that he doesn't get capital punishment for. So what? If it doesn't matter, he should have been more careful. The rabbis have taught.
Worse than the punishment.
Yeah, because it's Karev Lemezid. It's not a shaygig anymore. It's closer to Mazid. It's not a Mazid itself,
but then you have to see what actually is the sentence. Here, Miklat, the guy could be there for 30, 40 years.
Oh, yeah, I think he'd be locked away for the rest of his life. I
If
mean,
the Kohen dies, he gets out.
right, but I'm saying
But
such a person,
another person who we just said is worse than Ira Miklat, maybe his sentence is only 3 years.
no, so I don't know exactly. It's a good question. No, but I think he gets life imprisonment. It's not doesn't say here. So our rabbis have taught, and it says in a pasuk. The pasuk says, "Vim bepesa b'loy eva adafay or yishlich alav kol kli b'loy tzdiya." That if he came to him like bepesa, like in a shock, like not b'loy eva, without any hatred, hadafa, he pushed him, or yishlich alav, or he threw something at him, b'loy kli, without a vessel, b'loy tzdiya, without trapping. Right. So what does it mean in bepesa? If bepesa means that like he bumped into him, he found him, right? So the Gemara says, Prat lekeren zavis. This is talking about Shaygig, that he came on to, like, they were walking, this one's walking down the block, and I'm walking down the block, and they bump into each other, and by mistake, he kills him, right? For whatever reason, he was carrying a knife or something, whatever. But so that's a Shaygig, right? But he should have been more careful. So the Gemara says, Prat lekeren zavis. But what if you're coming at a corner, right? There's a building, and you're coming alongside the building. There's another guy coming alongside the building. There's no way you're going to see each other, and it's a crowded whatever, and you're holding a knife, and all of a sudden you both come out and you kill him, right? So that's an oinus. That's an oinus, because you can't. There was no way for you to know that there's someone else coming down the other way. Yeah, back in the day, people carried knives all the time, right? He's running to his field in order to pocket knife, right? But this guy's running to the shchita, to the slaughterhouse. This guy's running to go cut his wheat. This guy's running. This is stuff that they used all day, every day, right? Or this guy is using it because he's going to smooth out a roof, and he has a sharp stone with him or something like that, right?
One question I'll ask you.
Yeah.
In this court, is it a final judgment or is it appealable?
It's appealable. It depends which court you went to. It is appealable, and there is the high court in Jerusalem. Yeah. I know you missed that part. You should look earlier, because it depends. If you got your judgment outside of the land of Israel, it's appealable in the land of Israel. If you got your judgment inside the land of Israel, you can't appeal it outside the land of Israel. But within Israel, you could go to the high court, to the Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim. But yes. Beloy Eva, the pasuk says beloy Eva, without any hatred. So what do we learn over there? Meaning that if you didn't hate the guy, so then you could go to the city of refuge. But prat l'saine, if you did hate the guy, you killed him, don't say, even if you say it was a mistake, and it could even be that it was a mistake, right? What's the point if it was a mistake? If it was a mistake, you hate the guy, stay away from him. That's the point. We're not saying that he's lying, that it wasn't a mistake. Maybe he is lying, it wasn't a mistake, but we're not even saying that. We're saying that it doesn't matter. You don't like the guy, stay away from him. He gets on your nerves and it makes your blood boil, so you want to kill him. Yeah, stay away from him. You have the obligation, not that he should stay away from you. You have the obligation to stay away from him. And that's why if you killed him, even if it was by mistake, you cannot go to run to a city of refuge. That's the pasuk says. It's not the rabbi saying. This is biblical law, right? This is the Eibishter says. Hadafai. Say if he pushed him, right? So the pasuk says. So we learn from there that he does go to a city of refuge, even if he pushed him with his own body, like he used his brute force from his own body. So he still goes to the city of refuge. And the pasuk continues, that he threw something on him, meaning either with the body or if he threw something on him. So lahavi, what's this adding? Yerida shehi l'tzayich aliyah. So we said in the Mishnah, this is I think why the whole Bryce is coming here. We said in the Mishnah that you only go to a city of refuge if something happened on its way down. But if something happened on its way up, so then you don't go to a city of refuge because it's more of an ayinus, right? When the pasuk says so. But what happens if I draw my hand back in order to throw something up? And as I draw my hand back, something falls on another guy, right? So is it down or up? I'm drawing my hand down in order to throw up. So the Mishnah says, the Brisa says, that's Yerida l'tzarech aliyah, that's called a Yerida. You're not as careful on the way down as you are on the way up. Or the pasuk says that you're chayiv, you're obligated to go to a city of refuge if it was on the way down, and that is what's added. A hishlich halav is that if it happened on the way down, even if it was in order to get strength or to get power to go up. Beloit tzdiya, the next part of the pasuk from the words beloit tzdiya. That he didn't necessarily have in mind that to throw it in that person's direction or something like that. So prat lemiskaven, obviously, if you did have in mind that you're throwing it in that person's direction, you just didn't have in mind to kill him, but you had in mind to throw a knife in that direction or a heavy stone in that direction. So then you can't go to a city of refuge, right? That you threw it there, but and it went on to another way. Meaning, like you had intent when you threw it. You just didn't, you wanted it to go and miss him, but it hit him. Or you wanted it to go to the right side, but you don't have good aim, and it went on to the left side. You can't say, "Oh, it was a mistake, and I'll go to the city of refuge." It's not that's the pasuk adds.
You swing an axe. Okay, you're swinging an axe, so you go up and then you go down, and on the way up, it says the axe falls off, the blade falls off the handle.
Right.
And kills somebody.
That's the example he actually gives in the pasuk. Yeah. So it depends if it was on its way up or on the way down, that it fell off the. So if you're swinging down,
if it's going like this, you raise it up. It's going to fly off. When you,
it could be
the action. That's when the inertia. Here, there's inertia going up. Okay, the inertia.
It's a full swing. A proper axe, you're doing a full swing, right?
Yeah, but full swing. It's not necessarily
a hatchet. Maybe you'll do like this.
The axe like this.
No, don't you take an axe like this?
Okay, let's say you do that. What's the difference? You're still going up.
So
the blade is moving up. The inertia is going up. Now you have to stop and go down, right? To hit whatever you're going to hit. But the blade has inertia which is going up, and it could
detach, and it
detaches. So it's going to fly in that direction. It's not going to fly in the direction in front of you. It flies in the direction behind you because you. So far from what we've learned, that if it was in a movement of going up, then you don't go to a city refuge. If it's in a movement of going down, you do go to city refuge. Sense.
Yeah. And there's going to be examples similar to that the Gemara is going to bring. Good. So Vasher Leitzada, and that the pasuk continues that he didn't have in mind, like he didn't have a specific place in mind. Didn't have. He just threw it. He didn't throw it necessarily towards that person. So Prat L'Miskar, so like he threw it. He was throwing it a different direction, and by mistake it went to another direction. Right now. Prat, so this comes to exclude if someone had in mind that, I wasn't planning on hitting him. He's 4 feet away. The Gemara gives an example of shtaim or arba. 2 amas and 2 amas is 3 feet, and 4 amas is 6 feet. Right? I was gonna throw 3 feet. It went 6 feet. No, that's you were throwing it in his direction already, and that's a problem. And therefore, okay, Vasher Yava Yisrael Bayar. And then the pasuk says, and right, this is the example that he went with his friend into the forest, right? So it says Ma Yar. So what do we learn from there? The Yar, a forest, belongs to me and belongs to you. It belongs to everybody. Everybody has permission to go into a forest, right? It's everybody's rishus. So then Afkol rishus lanizik lamazik likanis sham. So what the pasuk is teaching us, that it only applies if it's public domain, right? But what if Yankel went into Shmerel's yard and Shmerel was busy doing his thing and by mistake killed him? That the halacha doesn't apply then, because you shouldn't go into someone else's yard, right? You shouldn't go next. But if it was in a public domain, that's when it's referring to. So Rabbi Avo asks Rabbi Yochanan a question, and he says, if someone was going up on a ladder and the rung that he was stepping on broke as he steps on him, right? Mitachto, from under him, seems from his weight, right? He takes a step on it, and from his weight, it cracks and it breaks. And now what happens? He falls, v'nafla, v'haragada. He falls and he kills somebody. Somebody's under. Never stand under a ladder. Right? A metal rung is probably a little bit more safe, but a wooden rung, right? So and he falls and he kills someone. So Mao, what's the din? Ki I gavna aliyahi or yiridahi. When you're think about it, you're taking a step, you put your foot higher than the rung, and then you put your foot down on the rung. Is that considered to be going down, or is that considered to be going up? It's a starke shaila. This is a Gemara question. If you want to really describe a Gemara question, this is a Gemara question. You made a klal. I'm gonna try to ask you so many questions to see where you draw the line, right? What's considered to be going up and what's considered to be going down? So Amar Lei, so Rabbi Yechanan answers Rabbi Vo, Farnagata, the Yerida, Shehi Tzairech Aliyah. So this is a Yerida, Shehi Tzairech Aliyah. What do we just say? That sometimes you go back in order to go up. Here, you're going down in order to go up. Yes, you're technically going up the ladder, but you're going down in order to go up. Yeah, you take an inch down in order to go a foot up. An inch down, go a foot up, right? That's what you do with your foot every time. You take your foot, right? He says going up the ladder. Going up the ladder. So now your foot, every time it goes onto a rung, it's going down. That's a Yerida, let's say Aliyah. So you might say that Yerida is Yerida. Going down is going down and going up is going up. But we just established that going down in order to go up is also considered Yerida, is also considered going down. So in this case, it is a Yerida, let's say Aliyah. It's going down in order to go up. So it is included in Yerida. You have to be very careful when you put your foot down on a rung. You go to Air Miklat in that case. Yeah, it's not considered going up. It goes into the category of going down. So Eisvei. So Rabbi Vo says to Rabbi Yechanan, hold on a second, I have a question for you. We just said in our Mishnah, right? This is a quote from our Mishnah. This is the general rule. That only things that happen in its way down, that's when you go to a city of refuge. Things that happen on the way up, you don't go to city of refuge. So he says, something that's not in its way down, right? What's it coming to exclude? What's it coming to exclude? Isn't it coming? So he says, isn't it coming to exclude this thing that when you're going up, right? That when you hit a rung, so that's going up, right? That's the whole point. It seems that's what the Mishnah is trying to say. That's the klal. That's the general rule. So Rabbi Yechanan tells Rabbi Vo, the time what's it coming? So when it says that everything that's on its way down. So what's everything? Everything has to be including. There's something additional. Everything, right? So what's that coming to include? So he says, Ella la suye. It's coming to include, to add katzav. Hachanami la suye katzav. So he says when we're talking about going down, it's coming to include the special halacha of a katzav. A katzav is a butcher. We're going to learn the halacha in a moment, right? So he says when it's coming, that in all cases when it's going down, it's coming to include something extra, including the halacha of the butcher. So too, when it says everything about going up, it's coming to include something. What's it coming to include? It's coming to include the story of the butcher, right? So meaning that Rabbi Vo's question. So basically, stepping on a step, we still go according to the way Rabbi Yechanan paskins that stepping on a step is going down. It's considered to be going down, even though he's going up. It's down in order to go up. Right? That's the Rabbi Yechanan's answer. Rabbi Yechanan's answer stand.
It's so smart. What Steinsaltz shows, he shows a picture of a butcher, right? A hand holding an axe. So it goes like this and like this. Is he going down or up?
So when he's going this way is up, and when he's going this way is down.
When he's going this way, he's going down behind
right.
him. Could you believe it? It's
oh,
downward motion.
Right. Or if he's going like this,
So it's like, it's down. I mean, it's down, now it's up. It's
Right.
upward motion behind him, downward motion in front of him.
Right. Okay, let's get to 1 second. Let's learn the Brisa first. The Tanya, the Brisa says, what page is that on?
It's next. It's
48.
48. Oh, so you see it on 40. You can see it on 48. Okay. Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Katzav Shayim Katzav, a butcher that was butchering. That's what he was doing, right? Tana Chada. So what happens with his knife? He's cutting bones. The story is, right. So bones, you have to be very harsh with bones. It's not like a little piece of meat that you go and you cut nicely a sliver. You're gonna cut a bone. You gotta take your hack knife, and you're gonna go bang, right? Yeah, it's a harsh thing. And chas v'shalom, someone's in the way. It could be very dangerous, right? And you could kill someone. So what happens if a butcher, by mistake, while cutting bones, kills somebody? Tana Chada, so the 4 brises. Tana Chada, the first brisa says that if he killed someone in front of him, he has to go to Ir Miklat. But if he killed someone behind him, he doesn't go to Ir Miklat. Tani Idach, in a second brisa, we learn that if he killed someone behind him, he has to go to Ir Miklat. But if he killed someone in front of him, he doesn't have to go to Ir Miklat. Tani Idach, and the third brisa says, Bein Lefonav, Bein Lachrav, if he killed someone, whether it was the guy was in front of him, whether the guy was behind him, Chayav, he has to go to Ir Miklat. And Tani Idach, and there's a fourth brisa that Tani Idach, that Bein Lefonav, Bein Lachrav, whether the guy that he killed was in front of him or behind him, Potter, he doesn't go to the Ir Miklat, right? But look,
He's free.
yeah,
Don't go into a butcher shop.
be careful, exactly.
Be careful where you buy your flesh.
V'loi kashya, and the Gemara says not only that, v'loi kashya, and they're not a contradiction. Only the Gemara could say this. V'loi kashya, and there's not a contradiction. You have four statements of halacha. Each one says something different, and the Gemara says no, they're not a contradiction. So he says the first one can be Yerido Shalafanov, Aliyah Shalachrav, that in front of him he's taking the knife and going down. Behind him he's taking the knife and going up, and that's why he's behind him. It's Aynes. In front of him, it's a shaygig, and therefore the person, if he killed someone in front of him, he has to go to Ir Miklat. Kan, the second case, Ba'aliyah Shalafanov, he's lifting the knife ahead of him and he's going back like this, and he killed someone behind him, V'yirida Shalachav, going down behind him. Kan, in the third case, V'yirida Shalafanov Shalachav, that he's going down this way or he's going down this way, he's going back and forth like this, right? So he's going downward motion in front of him and behind him. And Kan, in the fourth one, he's going up and going up, whether it's behind him or in front of him. And that's why, again, the klal that we said, that in any case, when he's going down, he has to go to the Ir Miklat. But the Mishnah says, call, in any case, it's calling lirabes to add that even a katzav, even a butcher, that if he was going up, he's oinus, and therefore he doesn't go to Ir Miklat. But if he was on his way down with the knife, he has to go to an Ir Miklat.
I saw a reference before here. It says if you kill a Gentile or if you kill a Jew.
Yeah, it's not the same halacha. It's not the same halacha.
Okay, so you get off if you kill a Gentile.
No. You go to jail. You go to jail if you kill a Gentile. It's no capital punishment. I didn't want to bring it up because it would start the whole thing. But there's no capital punishment in that case. I know.
Quiet. I didn't say
I know. I know you saw it. I knew everybody saw it. But that's the listen. So yeah. Leima kitanoi. So now the Rebbe Vo and Rabbi Yochanan have an argument, and the Gemara tries to analyze it, saying that maybe it's an argument that we already have from a previous generation. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Vo are Amayraim, they're scholars of the Talmud era, and we're trying to find an argument from the times of the Tanaim, of the Mishnah era, the generation before, and that we could say that we could, that it's a real argument because it comes from a previous generation. So what is the case? If someone's going up on a ladder, and a rung broke, One opinion was that he has to go to a city of refuge, and the other one says that he doesn't have to go. My love. So maybe you're going to say, maybe you're going to say that this is their argument because they don't give a reason for their argument, right? But maybe you're going to say, Mar Savar Yiridahi. One is of the opinion that going up on a ladder, when you put your foot down on the rung, it's considered to be going down, and therefore he has to go to city of refuge. And Mar Savar Aliyah, and the other one is of the opinion that he's going up the ladder. He's not going down the ladder. He's going up the ladder, and therefore, even if his foot goes down an inch, but still he's going up, and therefore he's potter. It's because going up, you're potter, right? So, and then we have a solid case for an argument between Rabbi Bava and Rabbi Yechanan from a previous generation. The Gemara says loi. The Gemara says no. Kuli alma aliyahi. Everybody, in this case, everybody agrees that it's considered going up. And so that's the conclusion of the Gemara. Going up the ladder is going up the ladder, not like Rabbi Yechanan, like Rabbi Bava. That everybody agrees that going up the ladder is considered going up the ladder. V'loi kashya, and it's not a contradiction. Why? We have one person says that if he's going up the ladder, he has to go to city of refuge, and the other one says he doesn't have to go to city of refuge. So what's the story here? So he says, Kan linizakin, kan le galus. One says that he is obligated to pay the medical bills, nizakin, right? In a court of law, you also have a difference. In modern court of law, you also have a difference if you're suing for manslaughter, right? If you're going against someone for manslaughter, or for financial, right? So it's suing. It's a recourse if you don't get the guy for capital punishment. So you have a recourse. At least you can get. It comes a civil case, exactly, a civil case. Yeah. So he says that when it comes to a civil case, chayiv, then he's obligated. But from the capital punishment case, he doesn't have to go to a city of refuge, linin golos, right? That's one answer the Gemara gives. The Gemara says, if you want, I can give you another answer. Both of them are talking about when it comes to go to city of refuge, and one says that he has to go, and one says that he doesn't have to go, right? But like Asha, and it's not a contradiction. That one case is talking about there was wormy, right? That the wood was rotten. It had worms in the wood, and therefore it's not an oinus anymore. It's a shaygig, right? Meaning that he should have been more careful. If he saw that the rung was rotten, he should have been more careful. Sees that there's worms walking around on that rung, means that it's not so strong. If he's going to put his weight on it, it could fall. In that case, it's not an oinus anymore. It's not a inadvertent that we can't imagine how it happened. No, we could imagine how it happened, and you should have been more careful. So therefore, you have to go to a city of refuge, right? And the one that says he doesn't have to go to city of refuge because he's talking about a solid piece of wood, and there's no way you're going up. There's no way you would think that it would break, and it broke. It's a wonder that it broke, right? So that's the second answer to Gemara. And the third answer to Gemara, very same one. If you want to give another answer, it's not talking about a wormy piece of wood or a rotten piece of wood. It's talking about the miadak. In order to make a rung, you have to make sure that there's two sides, and you have to make sure that the rungs are solid inside. And in one case, it's talking about a case where it was very strong, there was a glue, etc., and it was very strong, and it wasn't going to fall apart. And in that case, it's an oinus, and therefore you don't have to go to city of refuge. But in a case where it wasn't so strong put together, it was a flimsy ladder. In that case, it's more of a shaygig, and in that case, you have to go to city of refuge. I'm going to pause over here. We're on the bottom of Zion Amud Beis 7b with a new Mishnah that we're going to learn next week. Please God.